probably live. But do you see the present at the bottom of your screen? So do you
Yes.
know how to do that? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, hello everyone. We are excited to be with you today, so this evening, and excited about what we're going to share with all of you today. There's some phenomenal things that are coming together in Qube Money, and we're happy that you're part of this community. It's been really, really exciting. I don't know if you noticed, you probably haven't, but we moved from a 4.5 to a 4.6 on the app reviews. That was super exciting, and a lot of like really, really great things shared, and they're just genuine, real experiences from people of the impact Qube Money is making, and that drives us, guys. That's what this is all about. So it's really, really good. Um, we'll just give a minute here for everyone to come on, so that we can get as many people to be part of this. So, and thank you for joining us. Thanks for taking some time out of your schedule. This is actually a high traffic time on our social media sites, so that's why we're doing it in the evening. So hopefully this time works well for you. But if it doesn't, you'll be able to watch the recording on any of the social media platforms. And I know that Emma has announced those in the emails. So anyways, you'll be able to access this if you'd like to. Okay, Saurabh, should we get going? Let's do this. I just really want to Happy New Year. I know we're a month out, but there's, like I said, we've just released recently the planning screen. I hope that all of you have been able to experience the planning screen. And truthfully, this was the last piece that our team wanted to bring together to kind of complete the Qube Money experience. And I, for one, am super, super excited about the planning screen. And I wanted to kind of give you an overall vision, our vision of what the planning screen will become. It is as it is today, but there is so much that we can do with this screen to enhance the experience of Qube Money. So ultimately, like for existing users, for you, that planning screen is meant to make budgeting your money, like planning your money each month or each budget period, really, really easy. And I love how Sarb and the product team has created the, I guess, the balanced budget. So you know if you're like have excess or not enough. I really love the concept of runway, so we can help break that paycheck to paycheck cycle and move forward. So there's some really, really neat things that are built into that. But the other vision of this is to make setting up a budget for brand new people the easiest way in the world, the easiest way to create a plan in the world. So literally it is touch and play, and setting up a plan is super, super easy. And that allows us to integrate with organizations that are passionate about financial health, which is a lot of organizations. Every company should be, every church should be, the government organizations should be, because financial health has a direct correlation with focus and productivity at work. And so it really makes a difference. So we're having some tremendous momentum as we're talking about the planning screen and the ability to implement the planning screen into really any education platform, because they can teach it and then we can seamlessly move from education to implementation, and so that they can create the good habits that Qube Money teaches. And so you're going to watch that the experience within the planning screen become extremely user friendly, like touch to activate which cubes you want, and then the experience of setting up the cubes and automating the funding and all those things to become really, really easy. But in addition to that, it's a really great place to introduce groups, and to introduce debt elimination, and to introduce many different tools like sweep and roundup and different tools that are going to be integrated in that. And I'm going to turn the time over to Sarab to kind of go through what it is today and the vision that the product team has for the planning screen. So with that, Sarab, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Shane, and welcome everyone. This is my first time joining one of these lives. I know Shane does these quite often, but great to be here. So I'd like to start with a quick demo of this. What maybe some of you have not seen it yet, and including the auto allocation, which is really, really cool. So let me just start with sharing. Okay. So I hope you all can see that. Shane, is that good?
Yes, I can see
Okay.
it,
So I
clearly.
wanted to set up a quick scenario here and a persona of someone who is a freelancer. They earn $1,000. They earn 500 twice a month. So paycheck one and paycheck two, which is quite common. So that's their income, $1,000, and then they have a couple of things that they could spend that money on, and one of them is rental property. So bulk of their expenses is rental. That's $500. And then they have a couple of other things. They do own a car, so they have $100 gas budget, and then they put a little bit of money in auto repair to save up in case of any emergencies. And what I wanted to quickly demonstrate is the power of this screen and how you can play with different scenarios to fit your life and your values, what is important to you. So for this person, they love traveling, but then one day they want to own their own home. So they've got two goals, which is down payment and then a Europe trip, and they want to see how can they manage their life within this budget. So right off the bat, you can see they have 267.65 is still to allocate. So they've only allocated 732.35, and then a couple of other things that are built in that we've had for a while is that there's a goal date. So they're trying to see if they do July 1st, 2025, and they probably need $1,000 for that Europe trip. What it'll do is that as soon as I get into this box, there is a suggested amount, which is if they use that, then it'll make this happen. So I'm going to go with the 117.65, and it immediately updates, right? And this is also a sticky header. So if I scroll down, you can see it's always in view, and then how they have changed. So now they have 150 extra. What they can do is, let me just say that they put 150 for their down payment because that's just what is left over. So I do that, and that could achieve a perfect budget for them. So congratulations, you've achieved a balanced budget. And I'm going to go ahead and save changes. But then now they're curious that we never had a date for that down payment, and they need 10,000. So with 150, let's see when they're going to reach their target. So if I click on here, you can see that with your current monthly budget, you reach your goal by August 2029. Now, this is where they have to balance priorities, right? Isn't what's the fun of life if you don't get to do that? So August 2029, if that doesn't work for them or they want to buy a home sooner, then they have to play around with something else, right? Maybe they cut down all of their fun. Should they have a Netflix subscription or delay that Europe trip, right? If they delay that to, let's say, 2026, 2026 summer. So let's see how things will quickly change. And then it actually prompts you, would you like to adjust your monthly budget? Yes, it has actually 71.43. So I'm going to suggest that. I'm going to take that, and now I have $46.22 extra. So I'm going to go and add that to here. Some quick math here. So it'll be 92 and 22. Did I do that right? Okay, I still have $4, which I can actually add to my fund just for fun. So 29, that gives me a good budget, and then save that. So I just quickly demonstrated of how you can play around, and let's see what that does to the down payment. It has actually brought it back a year, so it's June 2028. So that was one component, and then the other one is the auto allocation. Quickly, we're very excited to release this this month. Actually, we're already in alpha, and we'll go to beta soon. So you can see there's a new column for auto allocation. This is all off now because I have a global off. So if I turn that on, it actually remembers some of my settings that I had done previously. So that's a useful tool. If you just wanted to turn it off for a month, you can, but you're not going to lose the individual settings. So the settings I have done is that rental, I'm probably going to add 100% of my budget because it's a fixed amount that I pay. So I'll probably always be adding 500, and I'm not going to have any rollover. So I choose that as 100%. For the groceries, which is my budget is 100, but let's say I do well a month, so my current balance is actually 80, right? That means I only need to add 20 more. So what I'm going to do is going to add it as a fill to budget, which is just topping it up to that $100. So I'm going to take that as fill to. My fun, I always want to do 29, so that if I do well, I can still build that up. And then these are 100% as well. So I'll make my Europe trip 100% as well. And then on the left, notice that what happens is that it's going to give you what will happen and how it's likely to allocate. So the max amount possible is 892.65, and that just means that if I empty all my fill tos, so if I have 0 at the end of the month in groceries, then I will need that full 100, right? And then so that's where that difference is coming from. But it also gives you based on current balance, and each time you visit the screen or even the groceries cube in the future, we will let you know what it's likely to add. So were I to change this grocery to 100%, you wouldn't have that scenario, because then it's always 100%, and I just know it's going to be 892.65. But because of fill 2, it can save money, and the better I do in a number of categories, so let's say even if I make my fund 2 fill 2, I can start having saving some money every month, and then I can do whatever I want. Later when we have sweep, you can put that towards saving, or right now it can help you build your runway, and then it just gives you a summary of when it will start allocating and my count. So the way the final point on auto allocation is it'll start on March 1st, because this is still in Feb, and I'm setting it up for the next month. So that's the next time it's going to run. But it runs based on the balance in the unallocated funds. So if you don't have enough funds, let's say you don't have the 7083.65 that you need, it will either try to do a couple of them. So it does work per cube. And so let's say you do have 500, it will auto allocate to rental, but it won't be able to do the other ones. And guess what? You get to set the priority of that order. So the fill order of the cubes, there will be a new feature or a link added here. This will happen before release. We just don't have it in the demo, where you can set the priority order. And then, so if you don't have enough to do everything, it'll do what it can on March 1st, and then it'll try every night. So March 2nd, 3rd, it'll retry until all of the cubes are satisfied, and then it'll stop and won't do it again until April 1st. So that's what I wanted to show. Shane, I don't know if you had anything else in mind, but that was my demo.
That's awesome, Sarb. Really, I love how you've created so it automates and requires as little user interaction as possible, but it's not intrusive and like forcing. It allows the user the ability to act, but it's not forceful, and I love that. So Sarab, as you look forward with the planning screen, you might just share some things that you're excited about that this lays the groundwork for. I shared a couple of things, but you are leading the product team. Sarv is our CPO, our Chief Product Officer. It does an incredible job, and really is thoughtful about creating beautiful, simple experiences to make it great for all of us. So, anyways, with that, Sarv, you might just
Yeah,
share.
so a couple of things that we are thinking about on the planning. One is for our new users, because as everyone will attest to here, that the constant feedback we hear is that Qube is so great. How come I hadn't heard about it? So really, as a company, we need to focus on the onboarding experience and welcoming new people to get set up early. So the onboarding wizard that Shane alluded to earlier is a component that will tie into the planning. We think that uh, if you just give this planning screen to anyone, right, to your friends, if you want to sell Qube or talk about Qube with the passion that we have, I've been doing that with my family. Like, I've just shown them the family the planning screen, and I'm like, try to play with this and see if your life can fit. So it's such a great and powerful tool. Even the scenario I demonstrated about this one persona, it just shows the power. And then the other piece of it that is unique to Qube is executing on that plan, right? Someone could say, oh, I can create it in a Google sheet, this exact same plan. Well, yeah, you can, but you can't stick to it. You cannot execute. That's the missing piece that Qube fulfills. So there will be a wizard to ask and set them up very quickly from the beginning. Like, do you own a home? Do you drive a car? Right? So everything that I had for that persona could be easily set up from the beginning. So there will be a wizard, and it can be also useful for existing people depending on how we set that up. So that's involves a little bit of research and talking to our existing customers. So there's a wizard piece. The other is the groups, which is heavily requested, right? Everyone has talked about groups, and there's two benefits of groups. So when I say groups, it's putting so we currently, as you saw, the grouping is bills, goals, and spend, right? It's by type, but rather, wouldn't it be cool if we could do utilities or entertainment, and then you could put all that, or family or kids, so you can put individual cubes as and group them the way you see it, and that would be unique to everyone. But so the organization part is good, but also we can do reporting on that. We can tell you as a group of on entertainment, this is how much you're spending, which today is very individual. So there's reporting and groups, and then I already talked about the priority order, which can also be done on a group level if you want. I would like to tie that group to something that we are also going to teach. So Qube, you may have heard of that. We're bringing that to Qube Masters and integrating it with the course. But we're going to bring the concept of needs, wants, and absolutes. So this is one way of looking at it, and everyone is welcome to do it their own way. But absolutes are things that you just cannot live without, right? It could be your mortgage or utilities, things like that, the bills that you have to pay. So you can have that as the first group. Then you have your needs, like groceries and food and things like that, and then you have the wants. So that this kind of grouping could really be helpful if you have a variable income, or you're going through a tough time. Maybe you're somebody lost their job or something like that. They can quickly see and manage or fit their life to their new situation. That what are my absolute needs? You might even adjust. You may move something from a need to a want, and things like that. So that's everything that the group will offer. And then the last thing will be more fill methods. So I only demonstrated two, which is 100% and fill two. But there's one more method that makes a lot of sense, which is, let's say, for an emergency fund or an auto repair fund, what you want to do is you want to get it to 500 and then stop filling, right? That makes sense. Like, get it to 500 and then keep it. But what happens? So you're not filling it every month. But then if you do like if there's a repair problem, like if you have an emergency or your car breaks down and you use that fund, or even from emergency, then you want to start filling it again. But the fill to doesn't work. And I'll tell you why. Because let's say if your emergency was $2,000 and for some reason you used all that 2000, what will fill to do? Fill to is going to try to grab the entire 2000, but that's going to throw your you can't just have 2000 in 1 month or one budgeting period. So we're going to have another method which will be maintain 2000, but there will be a concept of rate. Like if we want to get to 2000 but only add 50 every month, and then you stop at 2000. So maybe I didn't do a very good job of explaining that, but it's where you need to fill it at a specific rate.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's super, super good. Yeah, and actually, Pennywise just asked a question that I think is really valuable. She asked, "Can you explain the concept of runway?" So, Saurabh, I think that we've had some really good discussions about this, and you have some good solutions for this. So, yeah, you might just visit on that.
Yeah, so we are going to make a couple of adjustments. I know because we just wanted to roll it out, the planning, and not hold it back. So there is at least the name runway right now, but we're going to expand on that concept a lot. And the idea is that everyone is in their life or in their budgeting journey, everyone is in a different place. So we want to help everyone. Maybe some people are really good at it, very organized, and they already have money saved up for future months. So we're in February now. I mean, I have heard from some people who have a Qube for March funds or April funds, right? So they're already kind of doing that, but they're making either a gold Qube or something, and then they use that Qube to fund when that month comes and that budgeting period comes, right? What we want to do is somebody who's not maybe that organized, or even you don't want to do all that work. Why would you want to create those Qubes yourself and then manage it? We want to provide it out of the box where you don't have to do anything. And as you do good in those categories, when you use fill to, right? So if you use fill to from that $1,000 budget, and let's say you only use 800 one month, what happens to that $200? What we want to do is, and you will have the option, there will always be flexibility. We're not enforcing this, but we're saying if that auto allocation runs on the first of the night and $800 are allocated, you don't need any money that month, right? Because that's your entire plan has been successfully fulfilled. So those $200, we're going to keep it separate, so it won't show up as unallocated funds 200, because we heard loud and clear that a lot of people just think that's free money, right? Which was in cloud or now in unallocated. So if you keep seeing 200 in unallocated, I get that it could just be, oh, it's unallocated. You wouldn't realize it could be for future. So what we're going to do is create a separate place or a location, which will identify it as March or April. And actually it'll be as many months as that covers. So 200 might only be for March, but let's say someone has a lot more. They have 1,200, right? Again, I'm going back to my example of $1,000 budget. So if they have 1,200, that means they actually have full $1,000 for March, but they also have 200 for April. So automatically that runway will expand, and runway just means you can go, that's how much money you have to cover X budget periods. If you don't deposit any money, if you lose your job today, you can cover, your runway will cover you. And I personally see emergency as something different. Emergency is like when really a mishap happens and you need the fund. Emergency is not money to allocate in March, right? That's not an emergency. That's just planned money. It's unallocated until March comes. So to hold unallocated money, but not call it unallocated, so it's not free for all, is runway, right? That's what it's reserved for future months. Maybe that is a better way of saying it, reserved for future months. So Penny, does that help?
Yeah, and Saurabh, on that, so if your budget is $1,000 for the month and you have $1,500 in your unallocated, it will automatically put the extra 500 in runway. That's how you'll see it, so that you can say, okay, this $500 is for the future. And you can allocate that money for other things this month, but you'll be moving it from runway into those needs that are happening this month. So you'll know that you'll be using some of your runway to fund this month anyways, but it creates this idea of the ability to get ahead and to not live to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, which is something that we're really passionate about, and I'm very excited about it. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sarb. I really appreciate that. Now I want to just take a little bit of time and share one experience that came from one of our users. In fact, he posted it on Facebook, and I want to just read it because I think it's really powerful. So he said, I used my Qube card to fill my wife's car up at a gas station yesterday morning, and it must have had a card skimmer on it. Within 5 minutes, I had 3 fraudulent charges to try to grab over $1,300. Qube blocked all the transactions, and I didn't have to spend the rest of my day talking to banks about fraudulent transactions. And that's super cool, and creates a sense of security. And I talked to this user, and I agree that I always have my Qube list turned off unless I know that I'm going to have poor service or whatever, because I just don't like that feeling of being exposed and knowing that any transaction that I don't approve in the moment will decline. So anyways, I really love that about our system. Okay, so now, excuse me, moving forward, what's happening? We have updated our roadmap. So some of these things are already updated on that. But we have made it clear that we definitely want to offer high yield savings, but our current bank relationship doesn't provide the ability to do that. And so we've been pursuing relationships with other banks. And I've learned that in fourth quarter, banks don't do new things. They just stay status quo because the holidays and all that, so all sorts of those things. But right after the new year, we've seen some great headway with the new bank partner. But I just want to be clear about the process of integrating with a bank so that everyone is on the same page. So what happens first is they go through a due diligence period where they look at all of our partnerships, they look at our tech, they look at our policies and procedures to make sure that we are compliant according to the bank regs. And believe it or not, but that is a significant amount of information that they have to audit, really, to make sure that everything checks out with Qube Money. Now, I know that it is going to check out, but that process takes 30 to 60 days. So we're in the midst of that process right now, and even scheduling an appointment and doing all that, it's just starting. Okay, so we know that that's going to take place. And then once that approval and the agreement has been signed, then there's an integration that has to take place between our processor, the bank, and us. And that can take as little as 90 days, but can take as much as 180 days. Because we've already done that once, I believe that it's going to be shorter. So that's why you'll see that the high yield savings isn't going to be offered till third quarter. Now, one of the things that I also want to just kind of be transparent about is once we integrate with the processor, the new bank, and us, and by the way, we've all been integrated so the bank is already integrated with the processor. We're already integrated with the processor. So we just have to put all that together. That's why I think it will move a little quicker. But even in doing that, we're going to want to really test and make sure that everything is functioning correctly, because we're dealing with your money. We're dealing with my money. And so it's really important that things work exactly correctly. So there's going to be significant testing that takes place. once the testing takes place, we're going to onboard obviously just the internal group, but then there will be a period of time where only new customers will onboard, just new customers, to make sure everything is working like it should work. And I think that that's going to be a month to 2 month process to make sure. All right. That will also allow the new bank to get to know us and to get to know kind of the patterns of our users and so forth. And then we'll start migrating. If you want high yield savings, you want tap to pay, you want remote check deposit, you want bill pay, these kind of features, that will be with the new bank partner. And so there's some really great things that are coming, but there's a relationship that's coming together to make those things possible. So I just share that as I share the roadmap, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of a few points on this that could speed it up. Again, just so that we can be transparent with all of you. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so many of you have asked about the third-party app integration. So everything that's happening with the planning screen is going to continue to move forward. We're going to release the auto funding into beta and then into production. And then also we're calling it the playground, but the playground is the ability for people who aren't Qube account holders, Qube money bank account owners, to be able to come in and experience, play with the playground, set up their budget, play around in our technology before they decide to create an account, a bank account. And they'll even be able to create a username, a login with the playground before they create an actual bank account. So all of those things are going to be happening as we speak. And then our backend team is working on the third-party app integration. So this is where you can utilize Plaid to connect Qube Money to other applications. Now, we are not going to share by Qube balances. It will be an account balance, and we're doing that on purpose. We've created Qube Money so that you would have awareness and control within Qube Money. So I think that that's important for everyone to know. But you are going to be able to connect Qube Money and transfer money out of Qube Money through Plaid. You'll also be able to see balances as we move forward. So that's coming in April. Now, instant direct deposit and remote check deposit. I'm actually hoping that we'll be able to release that with our existing bank in April. But there are some approvals that have to happen with that. And I don't know if they're going to want to have that happen, knowing that we're also working with another bank. So we'll see if what happens with that. But for sure, those things will be released with the new bank partner to the new users. And then when you transfer over, you'll have access to those things. And the instant direct deposit, what that means is we're working with a service that connects up with ADP and Gusto and Paylocity and the major payroll companies, so that you can literally utilize your login credentials and set up direct deposit instantly without having to go to your HR. And you can do partial direct deposits and things. It'll just make setting that up much easier, so you can automate money coming into Qube more easily. And then we know that you've all been asking for remote check deposit, and that also is going to happen for sure with the new bank, and I'm hoping earlier. Now, the other things, high yield savings, a tap to pay card, you've been asking for that, and bill pay are only going to be for sure with a new bank partner. And so those things will be once we start to migrate everyone, all of our existing users, into Qube. And we want to make that experience really seamless and really clean. So I hope that answers questions about where we're heading as a company from a development standpoint, so that you know what to expect. But we are very excited about the features that will be released in 2024. And it is really fun to see organizations buying into this idea of being intentional about spending and the importance and the impact that it has in wellness. And so, anyways, that's something that we're obviously very passionate about, and it's very exciting to see others passionate about that as well. So I'm going to stop sharing and come back, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Sarah may want to come back on to answer as well, but if there's some questions, we'll take a few minutes here. Okay, so yes, Penny asked, when we migrate to the new bank, so you're not going to be required to migrate to the new bank instantly. That's going to be a choice. But when you do migrate to the new bank, you will have new bill Qube numbers because that is a new routing number and all of that. So yes, there will be a period of resetting that up. Great thing is with the new planning screen, we're going to make that super easy and super fast. Okay. And we're going to make this migration very, very smoothly. And it's been really great. Our existing banking relationship understand the importance of high yield savings, and they understand those things, and they've been very, very gracious. We have a great relationship with them. And I believe that's because we treat them right. We're open and upfront, and we've done things right with them, and they've done things right with us. And so it's a really great relationship, both with the existing bank relationship, and I'm excited about what the new bank relationship is going to provide. And there's many fintechs with multiple bank relationships, so this creates that. But there's a lot of benefits. There are going to be a lot of benefits to transitioning to the new bank relationship. High yield savings, bill pay, tap to pay, maybe remote check deposit will only be approved over there, and also the instant setup, instant direct deposit, things like that. So does that answer your question, Penny? I hope so. Holly, is there a way to allocate one purchase split to different categories? So that is on our roadmap. There isn't a way right now. I simply just transfer the money, and I put a note in our app, or my wife does. Excuse me. I got a little bit of a cough, but so that's how I do it. So when we go to, for example, Costco, we have some of it's groceries, some of it is home care, some of it different things, and we just transfer that amount, and then we just put Costco purchase. But what you're saying is will there be in the future the ability to take one transaction and define this to this Qube, this to this, this to this Qube? And the answer to that is yes. But it hasn't been a higher priority than the things that I've shown you in the development roadmap today. Any other questions? Hi, Jill. Okay, so I was wondering about budgeting each paycheck at a time with the new autofill feature, or would that be something we would use the priority setting? Man, Sarab, I need you on here for this question because you see a lot more scenarios.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
So yes, you will be able to manage that with the priority. Like again, keep going to this example, but this example of $1,000 and 500 each paycheck. So that means they will only have 500 coming in on the 5th of the month. So it's up to them of which cubes they would like to be filled with that 500. If they do a rental one, which will take the entire 500, or they can do a couple like groceries and other things to do the 500. And then they can also do because they might know what bills come out when, right? If there's a bill coming out on the 27th, 28th, end of the month, they can put that last so that the second paycheck takes care of it. So that's certainly one way if you're really depending on the paychecks coming in. But we would love if everyone can get to a place where they're 1 month ahead, and then on the first you can just run your entire plan, you allocate your own full plan, so that all the paychecks coming in February are really for March 1st, not for the month you're in.
Yeah, and sorry, but also they can actually set up their budget period to be by paycheck, right? And so then they can fund their budget based on the paycheck, because it'll cycle instead of it being March, April, May, right? Is that correct, or am I wrong on that?
No, yeah, that is correct as well. Once we introduce the custom budget periods, then you will have weekly, bi-weekly, or twice a month. Yep.
Yeah. So there'll be multiple ways, Jill. Okay, Tyrell, will we be able to view our 401k, mortgage, and credit card accounts inside Qube using the Plaid integration? So that's a great question, Tyrell. This goes into a net worth tracker, right? And that is something that, why not, right? If we have that information, that's not as high of a priority as some other things that are Qube specific, because there's other apps that do that. But yes, there will come a day when you'll be able to see a network tracker and link your other investment accounts, credit cards, and those things, and pull in that information so that you have that within Qube. Not as high a priority, again, as what we do, our special sauce. Okay, so Mary, is it in the future plans? Is it in future plans, Qube business checking accounts for small businesses? Yes, it is. That is, and I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to give us timing on that. But yes, it's something that I believe has a lot of opportunity for users and for Qube Money. And with our new banking relationship, we've already talked about business accounts, commercial. So, but that's going to be after. I don't want to muddy the water at all with what we're doing with the consumer accounts. First, get that integrated, get that really working well, and then we'll move on. Richie, can you please talk about direct deposit into individual Qubes? So, Sarb, do you want to answer this? I don't think there's a need for it because the planning screen automates everything. So it's better if there's just a flow from unallocated into automatically, because it creates one easy flow and reporting wise. But anyway, Sarb, go ahead.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth on this one because we don't want any abuse, like people using it for business accounts, which we're not allowed to do right now. It's possible to do it. So I'm going to have another conversation, maybe Shane, with you later on this topic. This comes up quite a bit. And we just have to, we can do it in a way where it's just another automation. So your money would still come to unallocated, but then the system could move it to a Qube. Yeah.
Okay, Tyrell, will the new banking partner offer an ATM network? Yes. Okay, we'll take a couple more questions, and then let's call it an evening. Thanks so much for everyone joining us. This has been really, really good.
I think that's it, Shane.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, I am very, very, very excited about the progress that the dev team is making and the releases, and so excited about the future of Qube. And I really appreciate all of your going with us on this journey. Like, our mission is to set people free, and we invite you to join us in that mission. And it's amazing. I think like 45% of the people that join Qube are referred by you, by us, by our community, because we see the difference. And if you haven't left a review on the App Store or the Google Play Store, I invite you to do so. Share with other people. It strengthens as people come and look. It is a very, very powerful witness that this truly is changing lives. So with that, have a great evening. And again, thank you for joining us.